My name is Anitra Page, and I'm in the Educational Specialist Degree Program in Instructional Technology at Kennesaw State University. I graduated from South Carolina State University in 1999 with a bachelor's degree in Business Administration. After graduation, I continued my education at Webster University, where in 2002 I received a master's in management and a master's in human resource development. I worked in corporate America for more than 10 years, but still felt as though I was not fulfilling my destiny. With that feeling of emptiness, I decided to step out on faith and do exactly what my heart desired. I sought out to become a teacher. I obtained my teacher certification from Mercer University. I currently teach a fantastic group of fourth grade students at North Douglas Elementary School. My capstone, Technology Integration for 21st Century Learners, was implemented at North Douglas Elementary during the 2015-2016 school year. Prior to the implementation of my capstone project, a new needs assessment was conducted in the summer of 2015. After analyzing the data, a determination was made that teachers should be given a professional development opportunity that provides a hands-on experience with how to use technology integration for 21st century learners. After meeting with school administrators in September 2015, an action plan was developed for how to deliver the PD. It was decided that the initial professional development would focus on fourth grade teachers and the special education teacher that serves the grade level. It was conducted at the school during a half-day professional learning day in which the grade level received 1 hour of professional development. 2 follow-up sessions were conducted during normal planning time as scheduled with the team leader. Subsequent professional development will be provided to the remaining grade level teachers based on feedback from the initial PD. The main objective of the PD is for teachers to move instruction from passive learning to active learning by planning and implementing technology-based lessons and activities that entail engaged learning and higher order thinking skills. Secondly, teachers will design student-centered lessons and activities that use technology in which students are able to collaborate and show mastery of content standards. In order to ensure that the objectives are being met, teachers will plan using the rubrics for indicators of engaged learning, EL, and the levels of technology integration sniff test, loading. Evidence of EL and loading should be evident in collaborative planning notes, unit and individual lesson plans, and teacher key systems. Teachers will conduct peer-to-peer observations in which evaluations will be made using the Lodi scale. The goal is to have a Lodi level of 4 or greater. Conferences with individual teachers and teams will also serve as an evaluation tool. As a direct result of the previously mentioned goals, classrooms will support student-centered learning and progress towards individualized learning for students by providing rigorous and differentiated learning activities. To evaluate this objective, student work and student feedback surveys would be conducted. The student work and feedback collected from the survey would be analyzed during the debriefing session. In November 2015, a meeting was held with the fourth grade teachers in order to explain the professional development's purpose and solicit how it can be geared toward the team's individual's need. The teachers were honest and direct about how they currently use technology in the classroom. Student use of technology was focused on prepackaged computer learning programs for reading, iReady, and math iPads. Both of the programs offer instruction that could be delivered by a teacher, but they allow each student to progress through the lessons at an individualized pace. Students were not given much opportunity during class time to develop basic computer skills and little to no opportunity to create and design using technology such as reports, multimedia projects, websites, video, or audio. The teacher shared that the reason why technology was more teacher-centered than student-centered was the time needed to provide content instruction did not allow time to permit students to complete technology projects. One of the barriers that had to be overcome was that student use of technology should not be limited to projects. Through the PD, Teachers became aware of how technology could be used to provide student-centered learning that is embedded during instruction time and not considered an extension after provided instruction. After sharing more about how the PD will provide ways to integrate technology in order to teach the content within the time constraints, the teachers were excited about developing a lesson during the PD that could be implemented this school year. Upon returning to school in January 2016, the fourth grade team received the initial professional development during one of the scheduled planning days. The teachers received a brief overview of indicators of engaged learning and levels of technology integration loading. The teachers completed an activity in which they had to self-evaluate several lesson activities to determine its loading level. Then, working in pairs, the teachers had to provide evidence as to how they derived at the loading level using the loading sniff test and rubric as a guide. Afterwards, teachers were immersed in a mock lesson in order to experience how the integration of technology can be used to engage learners. Due to time constraints, only certain lesson components were experienced during the PD. Teachers left the PD with the understanding that as a collaborative group, a lesson activity or unit that entails effective technology integration will be developed and implemented at a later date by all teachers. Even though the special education teacher attended the initial PD, it was determined at that time that she would not be able to attend future sessions due to a conflict in planning time, so she was not able to continue. As a continuation of the PD, collaborative planning time was scheduled in order to design and develop the engaged, student-centered collaborative learning experiences in which students will be required to produce products using technology. Throughout February and March 2016, teachers received ongoing support during the collaborative planning meetings. The initial plan was to have the fourth grade teachers conduct peer-to-peer observations in additional classrooms, but this was not feasible due to scheduling restraints. The alternative was to have the teachers observe the facilitator implement 21st technology integration into the classroom. This was not a negative because teachers were able to see that the facilitator was speaking from experience and not delivering a PD based on theory alone. As the lesson plans were being developed, teachers were encouraged to evaluate lesson components to identify indicators of engaged learning and loyalty level. This provided the facilitator a means of introducing emerging technologies that could be used for the lesson. Some of the technologies introduced were to address a concern identified from the needs assessment in which students were not given much opportunity to communicate with others outside of the classroom using available technology. To increase the loading level and address this concern, the teachers were introduced to KidBlog. The facilitator assisted with setting up individual classes and linked class blogs to another teacher's class blog and how to monitor public access to blogs. Some of the other emerging technologies introduced during the PD was Wikispace, FlipSnack, Quizlet, and Prezi. Once the lessons were developed, teachers were tasked with evaluating lesson plans to identify indicators or engage learning and loading level. The facilitator and fourth grade teachers agreed that the developed lesson had a loyalty level of 4. Teachers implemented the plans in individual classrooms in April and May 2016. Initially, observations of technology integrated lessons were to be conducted by administrator, instructional lead teacher, and/or facilitator. The time the lessons were implemented was not ideal due to the many demands that have to occur during the end of the school year. During the collaborative planning follow-up meetings, it was discovered that the ability to learn how to use certain technologies varied among the teachers. At this point, the facilitator made arrangements to provide one-on-one assistance to teachers based on need. The ultimate goal was to ensure that the teachers were familiar with and comfortable with working with technology. The facilitator did not want the teachers to limit the choice of students based on one's own limitations with technology. As a technology coach, I must be able to design, develop, and evaluate authentic learning experiences and assessments incorporating contemporary tools and resources to maximize content learning in context. The professional development lesson plan was designed to model how teachers could adapt relevant learning experiences that incorporate digital tools and resources to promote student learning and creativity. As a result of implementing the lessons during this capstone project, students were able to experience authentic learning and apply knowledge gained to sketch, build, test, and reflect on a device that uses light or sound to communicate over a distance. I exhibited the knowledge, skills, and work process representative of an innovative professional in a global and digital society. In developing the lesson during this capstone, I researched emerging digital tools and resources that would support student learning. During the facilitation of the professional development, teachers were able to work with the emerging technologies that will be available for students. In the future, I will take in consideration the audience members in regards to the emerging digital tools to be introduced. Based on an individual teacher's level of technology use, the content introduced during the PD can be overwhelming. The PD can be delivered in multiple settings based on technology literacy of the teachers. Being that the teachers participating in this PD for my capstone project were on various levels of digital literacy, it became difficult to manage the needs of the individuals when meeting as a collaborative group. Due to the various technological abilities, I had to provide additional time for teachers to receive one-on-one assistance with the newly introduced technologies. If the opportunity arises to facilitate a professional development similar to that of this capstone project, the participants will be grouped based on their technology literacy and level of technology use. A special thanks to the fourth grade team at North Douglas Elementary for being cooperative and flexible throughout the school year. Again, thank you.